today we've got another really special treat. We have a Longrow Samaroli.
You said that in a weird way. A long row. Long row. A long row.
We have a Longrow Samaroli. Should I start? Okay, I'll start again.
Try again. Go for it.
What do you say?
It was a long row.
Longrow. Okay, that's what I'm saying.
No, keep in.
So today we've got another really special dram, Laurie. We have a Longrow from the bottler Samaroli, distilled in 1987. What were you doing in 1987?
Oh, I was not even. I mean, you were minus 20 or something. You're like a babe in arms compared to me.
But I was thinking about this. I was thinking about today. This is going to be quite special.
I think so. I think Longrow is obviously made at Springbank Distillery. So Springbank makes 3 styles of spirits.
So we've got the unpeated, triple distilled hazel burn.
Yep, correct.
The traditional Springbank. And then we've got this guy.
Which is the heavily peated, dirty beast from Campbelltown.
So I've not had a lot of what they do. I know they've done like sherry cask strengths and they've done an 8 for a prolonged period of time as well, right? Maybe?
I think so. They had a series of 10-year-olds for a bit.
And I've once tried the 21, which was kind of a mix of different casks. And I think it changes every year as well.
Yep.
The cask composition, which is very Springbank. That kind of beautiful inconsistency.
I feel like they do that because they can't keep the consistency.
It's probably
to have
true.
a regularity.
Doing everything for people who don't know that much about Springbank or Longrow, it is the most authentic, old school, traditional process. They do everything on site. They turn their own barley. It's
massively inefficient.
It's amazing. Yeah. It's why people love it, but also it is, for business sense, it's crazy because they could produce 4 or 5 times the amount they do now, still sell out, but they don't.
Yeah, I think the appeal is that quirkiness and that old-fashionedness and that kind of naivety as well.
Stuff like the local barley. It's a great story. Now other distilleries now kind of try and do the same thing. Yeah. But some people are like, I know that farmer. People just love it. But Longrow's so heavily peated, but Campbelltown. So
is that a region you're
honestly not really?
Fond of? No.
It's not a region. Sorry, not that I'm not fond of it. It's not one I know that much about.
Okay.
I've been over to Islay, and I've been down the peninsula, but I've never been as far as Campbelltown.
It's a long way. I've never been, but I've been told, brace yourself for a long, uncomfortable drive.
It's not a very pretty place, but the whiskey is just this amazing fanfare around it.
Yep.
1 bottle per person as you go in. The secondary market goes crazy for it. But this generation of Longrow, we think they were maybe making that heavily peated Longrow style in the early 70s.
I think it was 1973. I think was their first.
So they definitely released the first 10-year-old Longrow in 1985. Okay. So we're trying a product distilled just after that, when the brand itself just kind of came around. So I'm expecting this to be quite smoky. Yeah. It looks like American oak to me.
Looks very, very pale. This one isn't an official bottling by Springbank. So this is bottled by legendary Italian importer and bottler Samaroli. Who have bottled some incredible single cask bottlings over the years.
Longrow, I think you've selected this is quite exciting.
Yeah, it could be stunning. I think some distilleries have a reputation of being quite inconsistent in terms of quality. I think Longrow, I've heard that a couple of times. Okay. You get any whiskey that's quite big and quite punchy, particularly those that use sherry cask as well. Sometimes that crosses the line into quite sulphury whiskey as well. And I've heard that, I think, particularly at recent batches of the 21-year-old Longrow. So I'm not expecting this to be light and sweet and easy-going.
No, it's going to be big and bold and in your face.
It's going to be a bit of a struggle. It's not, alcohol-wise, it's not overly strong. It's 45%.
Which is fairly typical of the bottler, right, in that kind of generation. Yeah. Also, we don't see Longrow independently bottled.
No, not anymore.
They don't have to sell casks. There's been no necessity to sell casks. So again, it's quite special to get to try it, not only from a legendary bottler like Samaroli. I mean, the fact that he managed to get these casks in the first place. Nowadays, in modern world, we're like,
it just wouldn't happen.
It just wouldn't happen. The numbers would be crazy.
Yeah, this particular one was bottled 1997. Okay. So where it's, 10 years max it's been in the cask. As you say, the colour's pretty pale, so it's not going to be overwhelmed by some hyperactive wine cask or sherry cask. It should be fairly naked. Longrow.
10 years old, 780 bottles. It's obviously, we think it's probably a reduced strength, so this could be a single cask or very unlikely to be more than one cask. It's been reduced and we've got less than 800 bottles out of it
Yep.
at 10 years old. Some of the notes on the back of it, and you don't want to just read off labels in the notes, but these are quite interesting and certainly caught my eye. Starts with very complex, which we're hoping for. That would be great. But to say that it's a well-distinguished vanilla with a phenolic peat. I love well-distinguished vanilla. However,
The peat's not so much.
peat could be really challenging for me. It says it's cheese-sharp aromas, and that's got me a little bit nervous. And maybe it's a generational thing, but
I feel like that's not a phrase I've ever heard used about anything, really.
me neither. Again, this was probably sold in Italy or in mainland Europe, we think, because that's kind of the main market Samaroli are in. So maybe it was a translation thing, but cheese sharp has got me a little bit nervous.
Oh, it's got my tummy rumbling. It's going to be salivating.
Maybe we should try it.
I think we'll open this with a bit of trepidation, I think.
It's quite exciting to get, very old distillery. Springbank's been going since 1826. So really, really old school, very traditional style of production. But this is still one of their modern interpretations and brands out with just a Springbank. I'm expecting this to be quite a challenge for me, but also I'm so excited to get to try it.
I'm expecting this cork to rip as well.
Yeah. This looks okay.
It's pretty loose. That's kind of...
If people see our other Samaroli videos, you'll see that we've had less luck with some of these old corks.
Well, this is a promising start. We've got the cork out.
Normally we're so annoyed by the cork that we already don't like the whiskey. So let's have a little go on this. Come on, I want my...
I mean, it looks a bit weathered, that cork, I'll be honest.
I'm really looking for my vanilla to be distinguished.
Cheese sharp.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not...
I like the nose. It's very light. It smells like a 10-year-old whiskey. It doesn't smell old.
It's not overly as sulphury and farmyardy as I was expecting.
No, I was expecting more cheese. I was expecting more kind of herbal, funky distillate. But actually, it's quite coastal, quite light and bright. I quite like the nose. I would say the peat's there too.
Yep. So, still hunting for cheese. It's not in there.
I'm okay with that though. If the cheese doesn't turn up, I'm okay with that. I bet some people would love a whiskey that tastes like cheese.
Yeah, could be a venture for us. Cheese whiskey. I think that's good. I enjoyed that.
Wow. It's really big. Big, bold. For a 10-year-old whiskey, obviously it's an older bottling, but that to me compares to a Lafroig Ardbeg level peat smoke. For 10 years old, I think it's really good, really impressive.
I think it's big flavour.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel out of control. I feel like there is an element of finesse and elegance to it as well. But it retains that big...
I can also see that in...
heap of smoke.
When making this, obviously in the late 80s, this would have been... Well, they didn't end up doing Hazelbird until the 90s, late 90s. So this would have been, okay, yes, we've got Springbank. This was clearly a different level of peat smoke. So you can see what they were going for. Really, actually, I'm really impressed by it.
I think it's great. I don't feel 45% has been watered down too much.
No.
I think it's lovely as it is.
Because we're quite, I'm quite honest to say, I'm quite critical of distilleries or bottlers over-watering, watering down whiskey to get a higher yield of bottles. That drinks really well at the strength.
Yeah.
It's big, it's punchy, it's exactly what they've clearly designed it to be. The nose is so clean and fresh, but the palate is big, bellowing smoke, bonfire smoke. Feels very Isla to me.
Yeah.
Again, I've probably not had many heavily peated Campbelltowns, but there's obviously a lot in common.
Yeah, I mean, it's not far away. If you look at a map, Campbelltown, Isle is, hop across the water. But I think it's lovely, actually. There's no hint of that sulphur that I was worried about. Really nicely balanced.
It's a pleasure to try Longrow from this era of whiskey making.
And I feel like whiskey of this character that is quite, coastal and briny and, peated, whatever, why would you age it 25, 30 years? Like 10 years old, for me, it hits a spot.
I'm with you. And that's probably why that your Lafroigs and Ardbegs are so successful at these non-age statement in younger ages, and if this was older, it would lose that honest peated character. If it was chucked in a big sherry cask, it would lose it too.
Yep.
The cask is not very influential at all.
Thankfully.
Isn't that unusual for us to say? Isn't that nice for us to say? I'm going to finish this, but thanks so much for giving us the opportunity.
What a treat, yeah. I think Longrow isn't something that's, you really have to be determined to get hold of a bottle of Longrow. So to try something like this,
a little bit of liquid history.
Bottled before Longrow was cool.
Yeah.
It's stunning. Great liquids. Samaroli does it again.
Yeah, that's impressive.
A real treat.
Cheers.
Thanks, Ross.